Hey, smart authors, welcome back to another episode of the Smart Author Podcast. In today's episode, I am joined by Taki Moore, the GOAT of coaching. And we speak about his book writing process and how he was actually able to generate over $150,000 in the process of writing his book. Not even launching, but writing his book. So I think you're going to get a lot out of this episode if you're looking to write your book or looking for new and different and creative ways to actually go through the process of writing your book. And beyond that, Taki is just a wealth of knowledge and wisdom in everything coaching related. So if you're a coach author or an expert author who has a coaching business, then I think you'll get a lot out of this episode as well. And beyond that, make sure you check out the resources and the things that we mentioned at the end of the episode so that you can get your hands on all of the free stuff that Taki has provided us with today. All right, let's roll that intro. Hey, Taki, welcome to the show.
Thanks, brother man. Been looking forward to this since we caught up while I was getting tacos in Noosa a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, and that was a fantastic conversation.
It was.
Taki, I would love if you could let everyone know a little bit about you, what you do, and the impact that you've had on the coaching space.
Ha! This is the bit where I'm supposed to talk myself up. Let's do personal real quick, and then we'll do work real quick. And then we can get into just being useful rather than telling people how useful I might be if they just listened. So father of six kids, 4 grandkids, which is pretty exciting. Lover of tacos and fine coffee, and don't wear shoes. So that's the personal kind of trifecta. On the work front, we help coaches, mostly business coaches, who either don't have enough clients or we help them get clients, and then they get clients and they don't have any time. So they're the 2 big things we do. Famous for a program called Black Belt, where we help people get to $1 million a year, about 1 a week. And then mastermind on top called Boardroom, where we take the $1 million people who are fun. Not every $1 million person is fun. And we help them grow to 3 or 5 or 10, or frankly, whatever the lifestyle empire they're after is. That's kind of the guts of our stuff. Little program at the bottom called Clients, which is designed to get people to 10 grand a month. So that when they do that, when we help them get there, they can invest a little part of that 10 grand a month to work with us in Black Belt to get them to the next bit. That's kind of how it works.
I actually saw a interesting post from you the other day where you're apologizing because you weren't clear enough that you can actually help people with the upper end. Everyone thought that Taki was a 10 grand a month guy.
Yeah. So we had this workshop in Noosa 2 weeks ago now. And partway through, a guy called Andrew just puts up his hand. Great guy, really smart. It's like, yeah, man, I've seen you around. We're stuck at like 115 grand a month. And I was talking to my friend Shay, who's in Boardroom. They knew each other through Co and Ray. And she's like, oh, you should talk to Taki. He's like, Taki, isn't he the get to 10 grand guy? She's like, no. I was like, oh man, I've totally let the market down. I think the problem is when you've got it's the same vertical, but it's like beginners, this is like launch and grow and scale. You either have to skim stones across the pond and talk to these guys for a bit and then those guys for a bit and you're spitting plates, or you mostly we market the middle and then we get a little bit either side. So deliberate effort this week. I'm going to talk about the top and then we'll go back to the bottom and then the middle and then the top. We'll see how we go.
I think it's an interesting dynamic to juggle. And it's definitely why right now, and I think as people start, and you could probably attest to this, is you should only really have one offer and only be talking to one type of avatar.
100%. Yeah, 1,000,000%. So the rule, according to a great friend of mine, Clay Collins, who built Lead Pages, which is what people used to use back before ClickFunnels a long time ago. He and I were in a conversation once and he talked about the 5 1s, which is if you want to get to $1 million a year, there's 5 categories. The correct answer, the best answer for each of the 5 questions is 1. So how many target markets should you have? 1. How many products should you sell? 1. How many sales processes or sales mechanisms should you have? 1. How many different ways should you have to get traffic? One. How long should you stick to that? 1 year. And that's the recipe that we've been kind of dialing in for a long time. Once you get to $1 million, you can break some of the rules. If you're under $1 million and you have like 3, 4, 2, 7, and you change your mind every 2 months, it's just hard, man. So much easier to focus.
Yeah, I love that. So you weren't always coach. I'd love to know like what made you become the person you are today. And it's been like 20 years now. You've been in the industry teaching people how to be successful coaches. How did you get there?
It's what we in the business call a long ass time. Before that, man, I don't know how much backstory to give. So let's do like 2 or 3 maybe useful vignettes, but we'll make them snappy. Straight out of high school, I used to run after school care, holiday programs for kids, pool parties, and I was a lifeguard. I did lots of stuff with kids. From there, moved to Sydney from Melbourne. So I had like managed large groups of children. I think that's the thread to pull there. Moved to Sydney. I was speaking in schools for a company, and so then I got like communication skills. But I was fascinated with coaching and coaches. It was brand new. You had to like explain to people what a coach was. But I was like, every time there was a workshop, a book, or a seminar or something, I'd go. Wanted to run a leadership program for 10, 11, 12-year-old kids. That was the age group I felt really comfortable with. And I knew a lot about kids and communication and how the schools worked, developed the curriculum, and didn't know anything about business. And I thought if I could find a business coach, tell him my story and get him to like, sweet talk him into coaching me for free for the kids, that'd be great. So I did that. Dude was like, hey, I won't coach you for free, but if you come work with me, because I had a marketing background, obsessed with, old school direct marketing. If you come work for me, you'll learn on the job. So I was there for 4 years. I learned a ton. It was an amazing experience. And then, after 4 years, I was like, you know what? I got to get back to the schools. I feel like I'm miles away from the kids. Went to do that. And one fateful day, I get this phone call from a coach called Simon, who's part of a coaching franchise. December 15th, I'm on my way to my son's school sports awards night. And he's like, hey, I heard you might be able to help. I'm in trouble. I got a call from head office in Las Vegas from Brad Sugars, who's like, God in that space, in the company. I owe them 30 grand. I've got 30 days to pay it back or I'm out. I'm like, all right. So he goes, so I've got to come up with 30 grand right now. I'm like, okay, well, what's your plan? What are you thinking? So if I can put a 2-day workshop on, get 50 people to pay me $1,000 each, that gives 30 grand to pay back head office and 20 grand for me and my family. He had like 5 kids. Like I had 5 kids at the time. I'm like, all right, well, you've got, it sounds like a good plan, except that it's 2 weeks before Christmas. No one's going to come to your workshop. Number 2, to sell tickets at $1,000 a head, you've got to have a pretty decent sized audience. How many people in your world? So I never kept a database. I've got 7 clients. I've got 7 past clients. Not all of my past clients still like me. So he's got no money, he's got no time, he's got no list, and we're in trouble. So I didn't know how to help him, but I said, why don't you come over tomorrow to me and Mike, my mate's house. Let's see if we can scheme up a plan, which we did. And then I called him every morning for 30 days. Hey, what'd you do yesterday? Okay, today do this, that, and the other thing. I didn't know any of the online stuff that we do now. It was all very kind of guerrilla. Anyway, at the end of the month, not only he'd paid his money back, but within 87 days, the franchise used to send out an email every month with just a list of all of the franchisees in order from, if your name was at the top, you were making the most money. If your name was at the bottom, you were not. And he went from like last to number 2 in 87 days. And everyone's like, what happened to you, man? How'd you do? And he goes, this guy Taki helped me out. And then that accidentally turned it into this little business thing that we have now. That's the story.
Okay, cool. So pretty much everyone in that list was like, at the bottom at least, was like, I need to work with Taki.
Yeah, some of the guys at the top, like, yeah, exactly right. So he sent out a little email saying, this guy Taki helped me out. I went from here to here. And there's some of the stuff that we did. Here's how, here's the offer. Send him an email. So I just got flooded with emails from all these dudes. And there's a million things in between, but you don't need tragic backstory. Yeah. That's probably enough.
Okay. Wow. Well, that's really cool. The inception of your $1 million coach.
And mostly it was just trying to help coaches get clients by Thursday. Was like now it's like $1 million and beyond. But at the time they were like, man, I need rabbits and hats. And I've got like, well, if you bring that hat, I've got the rabbits. Let's do this. It was good.
Oh, cool, dude. Well, so I'm sure we're going to fast forward a little bit here, but
yeah,
I want to transition into your book and how that came about. Obviously, you were teaching and coaching and creating success stories and things like that for quite some time.
Yeah. It wasn't on my radar at all.
Yeah.
I had this guy who was in the book space as well, and he was converting, like he's a new client. In fact, I remember meeting him at an event, and we were talking about building authority, and stupidly I said, well, it was funny, but didn't really help the relationship, but it got a laugh. I said, everyone says that most people have got a book inside them, or everyone's got a book inside them. And I said, and for most people, that's exactly where it should stay. And, and he thought it was hilarious, but up on the break, he comes up to me and goes, oh, I'm the guy who... Anyway, so he was converting like 1 in 10 of his sales calls into clients. I was like, oh man. So then the next session I taught how to sell. He became a client, and we took his conversion rate from 1 in 10 to, I don't remember the number. It was at least 7 out of 10.
Wow.
It might be more, but let's call it 7 out of 10 and be safe. He's like, this is amazing. It's changed my life. I'd love to help you with your book. And we can talk. I don't know if you want to talk about like how the book got created, but the big idea was like, I helped the guy out, and to say thanks, he offered to help me. It was an interesting experience. Let's just say that.
Yeah. Well, so I do think talking about the creation of the book and what you guys did there is beneficial, because it could be something that someone else could take and kind of run with it in a better angle. Because I love the fact that you went through the process and you actually
didn't like it,
hated it, but also were able to create a tremendous outcome for yourself at the same time.
Yeah. I've just spotted a book over here. Let me grab it. So here's what happens. A guy goes, I'd love to help you with your book. I'm like, all right, well, that sounds fun. It wasn't even on my radar. I mean, I knew that the first part of the word authority is author. I get it. But frankly, writing a book just felt like hard work, and I'll do whatever I can to avoid hard work. It kind of stank of effort. So we got this process, and he explained how it worked. And so the week before, I was meant to talk with the ghostwriter person. And so I messaged my mate, and I was like, so how does this work? Like, I'm talking to him next week. How does it work? Does he like interview me or what? He goes, no, you just like jump on a call and you like deliver it like TED Talk style. I'm like, oh, so like presentation style. He goes, yeah. I'm like, oh, that feels kind of weird to like book a meeting with one solitary individual human and like talk at them. Would it be okay if I invited some friends? He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, well, the model is basically imagine a triangle, attract, get leads, convert them into clients, deliver results at scale. That's kind of so in my head, I had like, there's going to be an intro and then three sections. Each section has 3 chapters and a conclusion at the end. And that's the book. I'm like, all right, so could I invite some friends and I'll teach it. I just better with an audience, there's people who go like, if you build it, they will come. I'm always like, oh shit, they're coming. I better build it. That's kind of my vibe. So he's like, all right, well, we could do that. And so I send an email out saying, hey, tell the story about the guy who's helped me with the book and that he wants me to present to one person. I feel really uncomfortable with that. I just love some more people to come and hang out with me while I do this book. So I'm going to do 3 webinars, like an attract one, a convert one, and a deliver one. If you want to join me live, I'll teach the chapter and then we can do a quick little Q&A. I'm going to relate it to you. You'll get like a sneak peek on all the stuff. All I ask is like, laugh at my jokes and have fun. Is that all right? And so like 1,000 people registered for these 3 webinars, which is kind of awesome. And I was like, well, dude, if I've got people here, we should probably like they're going to get a copy of the book. We should probably do something with them. And so I invited them to a 2-day event that I was running. I used to run them in Sydney and in LA. Santa Monica probably at the time. And so I just like did an offer on whatever the price was, come to my event. And so a bunch of people like bought an event ticket, and a bunch of people from the event became clients. We did like 100 and I don't know the number, 150, 160 grand in sales writing the book, which is kind of fun. So I love that bit. I've got a really, like, I like frameworks. I love to, like, I hate blank pages with a passion, but the moment I know I have to do something more than once, I'm like, okay, well, what's the framework here? Just like, you ever watched an episode of Scooby-Doo? Every episode of Scooby-Doo is the same. They're driving along, they get stuck somewhere, they look around and there's a place to stay. It's got some weird mystery. There's a backstory. At some stage, there's going to be a chase scene. Scooby wants Scooby snacks. Someone goes missing. And in the end, they unmask the villain. And he would have gotten it. So that's every episode's identical. So I think, like, if I'm going to do something more than once, let me figure out the Scooby-Doo episode format, the framework for it. And then all I need to do is, like, change the villain, change the story, blah, 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 blah. So I invent this. I had a quick search on my iPad, couldn't find it. But I just mapped out like a noughts and crosses, a tic-tac-toe, sheet of paper divided into 3 rows, 3 columns, 9 boxes. And every chapter's got like, here's why it matters, 3 frustrations and a fear if you get it wrong, 3 wants and an aspiration if you get it right, a story of a client who's done really well, 3 big ideas, a little bit of how-to, a question, and a worksheet from Black Belt that people could go to download as a way to go people from, like, I bought the book on Amazon into my database. So like 9 boxes. And so that was like the framework. And I'm like, oh man, I've got this this interview coming up, and I've got 1,000 people now registered. I better like figure out what the hell I'm going to say. So I go to down the road from us in Monavale, where I was living at the time. There's a place that did really good coffee and amazing burgers. And so I would just like walk in, order a coffee and a burger, and then sit down with my iPad. And I had to have fleshed out the chapter before the coffee arrived, or before the burger arrived. And so I just like raced the kitchen, which is good. Like I love a good deadline. So we did like the 9 chapters like that. Jump on the webinar, taught the stuff. That all sounds great. So 3 webinars later, we've booked a bunch of people into the event who later became clients. I've got all the book content, and it's awesome. And so I go to one of our events where this dude gives me, he's like, hey, Taki, it's ready. And he shows me this thing. We did the front cover. So I don't know if it's good or not, but it was on brand and fonts and stuff. Anyway, so here's the book. I'm like, amazing. I'm reading the back. I'm like, this looks great. And then I'm flicking through, and it's dog shit. It's a really bad transcript that I'm ashamed of. Yeah, it was super heartbreaking, man. The reason is because I built it on a framework and I had slides for the stuff. All of my stuff has, in a good nonfiction book, there's sections which make sense. There's chapters which kind of make sense. There's like subheads. It's all like very logical. There's like a hierarchy of stuff. And this, because they just took the raw transcript and they didn't look at the slides or the video, they just got the raw transcript. It was stuff that was really important to me, wasn't obviously important in the transcript. Stuff that wasn't important to me became really important. And it was just like, it didn't make sense. I'm like, oh, I can't publish this, man. I'm really sorry. So I gave it to Mike on my team, who did just a great job, dude, like creating the little graphics. We ended up dropping in some of the slides. Mike did a great job of editing the words. He's a bit of a Swiss Army knife. Anyway, you don't need to know. After like 3 months, it was really good again. And now it's a book I'm really proud of, and it's done great for us. That was a very long story. I'm sorry for wasting your time.
No, I think it's a good story because first and foremost, it's a different way and a convoluted path to get to a very good outcome. And I would love to know, like, from your perspective, first and foremost, like, you probably launched the book and you were likely selling it in the beginning.
No, I've never sold it, man. Probably should have.
It's always been free.
It's always been free.
Cool.
Yeah. So basically the process was give the book away. The teacher's ready when the student's ready, the teacher appears. Chris, we're chatting now, dude. I just gave the book away for free. So it was like, give the book away for free. On the thank you page, people could do whatever came next, which I think at the time was if they qualified a ticket to event, because that was the primary selling mode at the time. So there was an upsell to $100 or $200, whatever it was, to come to the event. Every chapter, at the end of each chapter, had a little
like resource.
Yeah, has a freebie. Download this. Go to milliondollarcoach.com/kit. So people would go there and just get all of the worksheets from the book.
Yep.
And that would trigger off a follow-up sequence. So because some people just bought it off Amazon, and some people opted in. Either way, we've got their email address. So it's not this has to ROI. I don't have to get return on ad spend in 30 days. I mean, it turned out to be way better than that because the book cost me almost nothing and we made a ton of money. But I just know if I can get people into my world, eventually, they're gonna go, oh, this dude can help, and I like this dude's vibe, and I want to work with him because we've got the email bit sort of sussed. So
yeah, I love that.
That was the plan.
What's your current selling modality at the moment?
Okay, so there's two big things we do. People buy on phone calls with us. If they're the coach and they want help. So it really depends a bit on the program. For Black Belt and Boardroom, it's much more of an audition than a sales process. It needs to be a really great match for us. The only thing worse than not enough clients is the wrong clients. And I've been around long enough that I just don't care enough. The number doesn't matter. The quality matters a lot. If we're going to get together in person, just like, when you go to a swimming pool, it only takes one, it could be a 50-meter pool. If one kid's shouting in the pool, you're not swimming. And events like that, So we're super choosy. So either a phone call or come to an event, taste test like a pink spoon, like a taste spoon at an ice cream store, and then a phone call.
Yeah,
that's how it works as of today.
Cool.
Things change.
Yeah. Okay, sweet. So as someone goes and gets the book now, which is still on your website,
yep,
that's kind of the process that they would go through.
Yeah. So most lead magnets will have a thank you page inviting them to, if they're qualified, to book in for a 10-minute chat where we can kind of pinpoint problems, identify potential solutions, and together work out, is it worth talking again? Most lead magnets will have that. And then, email and content warms people up, and some retargeting.
Yeah, makes sense. So one thing I want to understand is, obviously writing the book was quite rewarding for you in terms of actually having this asset, but then the money that it generated as well.
Yep.
What has the impact been over time for you that you've seen from having the book?
So number one, it still books calls to this day. People go, hey, I've read your book. It's great. It's probably due a refresh. It's been a little while, and 80% of it is right. There's some stuff that's changed or that we do differently. Maybe 70% right and 30% change. It's still an epic little book. I think I've got 12 books in me.
Okay.
Maybe that's where they should stay. Who knows? But I think about having a book for Black Belt, a book for Boardroom, and a book for clients. Could be interesting. It's really inspired by a friend of mine, Dan Sullivan, who runs Strategic Coach, and they have a new book every quarter. I think sometimes people get hung up and they don't launch the book because they've got to get the book instead of a book. As soon as it becomes, this is a book, not the book, it takes a bunch of pressure off.
Yeah. Have you seen that there's been a tangible outcome that the book's produced for you guys?
Dude, 1,000,000%. And it's not I don't have it on shelves behind me telling people to go get it. By the way, it is a really, really useful guide. I think there's books are almost the best lead magnet, whether it's free or it's or it's low cost, and whether it's physical book or digital book. I don't think that matters that much. The only problem with physical book funnel is there's a percentage of your market who's ready right now, and anything which makes them wait a week to receive it to read it is an excuse to not do the next step right now. So I do like the digital. Do I recommend that everyone has a book? No, I don't think everyone should have a book, but I think everyone got something to say should have a book.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, maybe get to 30 grand a month, figure out your voice and what you care about and what matters. And then a book. I think that book can be really, really useful.
I think that's funny. Actually, one of my episodes on here, a post that I made that was quite controversial was you shouldn't write a book before 30 grand a month.
Oh, there you go.
Because,
Perfect. Well,
yeah,
if
it
we
was like,
both said it, it must be true.
yeah, it's definitely true.
I just think
well,
there's easier ways to get clients. Like, you don't need a book to get clients. And frankly, if you're just getting started, no offense, you don't know what you know yet. And so you want to actually battle test it with real people and get them an outcome and prove that your thoughts are worthy. And then this book gets us leads. It is a great authority / positioning piece. It's also a great training tool for our team. This is okay, in an hour or whatever, the chapters are easy to read. In a little bit, they can understand how Taki thinks about X, Y, and Z. Super useful. And I think documenting your wisdom is kind of where it's at.
Yeah. So you come at it from the delivery perspective. I come at it from the marketer angle, where I'm like, you couldn't really support marketing a book before you had 30 grand a month in revenue as well. And obviously you probably haven't proven your services and knowledge enough to be able to support the influx of leads that a book would bring as well.
Yeah. I think if you look at it through the marketing angle, the sales angle, and the delivery angle, it all matters. Number one, what the f- are you going to write if you're just getting started? If I wrote a book on day one, it would be a crap book.
Yeah.
Right? To be honest, I know stuff now that I didn't know then. So number one, it's going to be a lame book. And is that how you want to be remembered in the world? Is the dude who put out one more shit book? I don't want to be that guy. Number two, from a marketing point of view, if you're going to put money behind, if you're going to put effort into writing a book, that's time. If you're going to put money behind a book, that's money. You want to get an ROI, which means you need to have a proven system for converting a lead into a client. Yeah, I think it's an epic tool once you're a little bit stable.
Yeah, for sure. So what's next for Taki? You mentioned you've got 12 books and are you already thinking about one? Have you started putting plans into place?
Yeah, I've got a bunch of books in my head. Right now I outsourced our content writing for a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And over Christmas, I was just full of email shame, stuff going out with my name on it that was sort of a little bit what I believed and sort of a little bit like I'd say it, but not enough of either for me to go, this is awesome. So 6-week challenge, which finished 10 days ago. Writing every day. And so I think the next book will be a collection of those, around various topics. Because I'm already doing the work and I'm thinking the thoughts. I think I will do a new book for Black Belt, an updated. I'll do a boardroom book. I'll do a client's book. So they're probably the next 4.
Yep.
And then I think we can get super micro and do a marketing book, a sales book, a delivery book for Black Belt. Yeah, that's the thinking.
Cool.
Don't ask me when. Because I got
when.
Thought I told you not to ask me that. Yeah, it's right now it's definitely a later thing, not a now thing. Yeah. I've got stuff that I'm actively working on and really excited about that I can't talk about here. So don't. And a book will happen whenever the book happens.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, I think it's awesome because you're at the stage where you're highly referred, you get results for clients, and you've got leads coming through all day, every day. People love your content, consume your stuff. So it's a book is obviously a tremendous value piece in the marketplace, but you're already serving the marketplace quite well. And so, it's just coming down to the conclusion of when do I want to expand upon that and put the energy and effort into doing so?
Yeah, correct. I think it's with our clients, we do a lot of work figuring out what we got the RNT, the right next thing. And it's really what's the constraint right now that's stopping us from wherever we want to be. Sometimes it's growth, sometimes it's profitability, sometimes it's time, whatever it is. What's the constraint? And then what are a bunch of options for solving the constraint? And we pick one and we run a 6-week experiment. Right now, the constraint isn't not enough people are, it's not, the book isn't a fix to a problem I've got today that this current book isn't already solving.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense. So, Taki, where can people check out everything that you're doing and find, your $1 Million Coach book?
So find me on socials, Taki Moore, $1milliondollarcoach.com website. You can download a book there. I think there's probably takisbook.com is just a straight to the book page, if that's easier. Yeah.
Sweet. That'll be in the show notes below. Taki, it's been an awesome conversation, and thank you for so much backstory and sharing.
Sorry for oversharing and too much backstory.
No, it's needed sometimes. It's the more detail, I think, is better than less detail. So thank you for going deep.
Yeah, man, absolute pleasure. I think if you are going to write a book, figure out outline and chapter. Book Builder is a great tool. Dude, if I can find it, I'll send it over to you. Put that in the show notes. I think anything that just helps people really quickly outline a chapter. You could do it in less time than it takes them to make your burger. So that's worth it.
Well, I think you could probably do the whole thing in the time it takes you to get tacos, right?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
Yeah, I don't know. You can definitely do a chapter.
Okay.
Tacos are pretty quick.
Okay.
Yeah, tacos are pretty quick. All right, man. Hey, this has been fun. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, man. Damn, what an awesome episode. If you've got a book that you're advertising or not yet advertising, and you want some book marketing advice directly from me, I'd love to set up a book marketing review with you. It's basically a 30-minute consulting session that you can get for free, worth $1,000, where we can basically dive right into everything that you're currently doing or not doing, and everything that you could do to sell as many books as possible according to your goals. So if you want to sell 100 books a month, 1,000 books a month, or anything in between, we can really help you outline a strategy to help you get there. To book your session with me, just click the link in the description below, smartauthormedia.com/chat, and you'll be able to book a time that suits you to go through everything with me so that we can help you sell some more books starting today. Look forward to speaking to you on the call.